Welcome to All Business, No Boundaries, a collection of supply chain stories by DHL Supply Chain, the North American leader in contract logistics. I'm your host, Will Hayward. This is a place for in-depth discussions of the supply chain challenges keeping you up at night. We're breaking beyond the boundaries that are limiting your supply chain. Today's episode is Certainty When It Matters Most, Improving the Patient Experience with Accuray. Our guests are Eugene Williams, Senior Director, Global Service Parts Operations, Accuray, and Jose Davidov, Vice President, Business Development, Service Logistics, DHL Supply Chain. Let's dive in. All right, good afternoon. Welcome to you both. Glad you're here. Been looking forward to this episode for a long time. We're going to explore a part of the business that doesn't get a lot of kind of common press, and we'll get to explain what service logistics are. But before we get in, we'll start like we always do. If you could please both introduce yourself with your name, the organization that you represent, and your role there. Eugene, let's start with you.
Thanks, Will. So Eugene Williams, I'm with Accuray, and I am the Senior Director responsible for our Global Service Parts Network.
Okay, welcome. Jose?
Thank you, Will. So my name is Jose Davidov. I am Vice President of Customer Development for Service Logistics in North America, which is the organization that focuses on all the aftermarket solutions within the supply chain group.
Okay, great. Well, glad you're both here. Eugene, Accuray isn't a consumer brand. So maybe if you could tell us a little bit about the history of the company, what services or products it offers, and how long it's been around.
Sure. Accuray is a medical device manufacturer, and we build in the radiotherapy space, so radiation oncology. So I like to say that we build time machines. We like to help our patients have more time with their friends, their family. And so we have been around for 30 years, joined two companies together, Accuray and TomoTherapy, about 15 years ago. And so over that time, we continued to develop our product. And today we're in over 60 countries with an install base that's over 1,000 systems around the world. And so my role is responsible to make sure that we have the right part in the right place at the right time to support the systems being up and running and treating our patients.
In the systems you're talking about there, do they have kind of a brand name or?
So we have two brand names that one is CyberKnife, and it's very robotic in nature, looks like a robot. And so it treats from many different angles and treats all types of tumors in the body. The other one is our helical system. It's our Radixact system, and it also treats just about any place in the body, but has a bore more like a CT system, so that the patient goes actually inside the bore and is treated through that process.
Okay, so 60 countries install, you said?
Over 60 countries today. Yeah.
And where's home base for you?
So I'm based in Madison, Wisconsin. So Madison is our center of excellence as well as our corporate headquarters. And so we have our operations are based here, and where we ship our systems. We also have joint venture in China supporting our China market. And then we have sales and service offices outside of Morges, Switzerland, outside of Geneva, and in Hong Kong as well.
Okay, so a true global business that you're running.
Yes, absolutely. And I failed to mention our Tokyo. We've split up our APAC region. So Japan is outside of APAC for us. It's a separate region.
Okay, understood. Okay, so Jose, you look after a global business also for DHL. Can you describe what service logistics is in your world?
Yeah, so service logistics is the part of the business. So first of all, we're part of the DHL Supply Chain division, and we look after all the aftermarket services, mainly for three big sectors, which is technology, engineering and manufacturing, and medical devices and capital equipment. And when we say that we take care of the aftermarket services is our solutions are focused to any moment that there's a service event needed. It's where our services and solution works. You mentioned we are a global organization. We are spread among 5 regions, and what we have, it's a network of locations. Probably we can go deeper into the footprint in a next step, but it's a global network of locations that operates under a single instance and a single platform, and we provide solutions for our customers like Accuray in with the main objective, which is improving or making more efficient the experience of the field technicians, and at the end just helping our customers at the very end.
Okay, so Accuray and Eugene needed a global aftermarket service solution. DHL provides one. How did you guys come together and meet each other?
So you want to take that one, Eugene?
Great question, Will. So it was a long cycle of, for especially on the DHL side, they would say it was very long in, coming together. I would say that, we were with a other provider for many years, looking for alternatives, talked to DHL, and we weren't ready. We talked about coming together and partnering, but we weren't in a place to be able to do that. So we didn't even have EDI ability. And so I think had we at the outset started together, it might have ended up in a really nasty divorce, and neither side would have been happy. So we waited, which was good. We built some infrastructure on our side. And then over time, we were ready to make a change. And so we came together almost 4 years ago. As far as our go live, it was around this time 4 years ago that I think we inked the deal and began, the plan, the implementation plan. And so we've been operating for a number of years, and I would say we've moved from, of course, that implementation to stabilizing, and now we are in the continuous improvement phase together, working together as partners.
Okay, so just kind of brass tacks, Jose, how does the solution work? Just maybe start with a piece of a cyber knife goes down somewhere in the world. What happens then?
So the way that it is structured, Will, is we have what we call global tier 1, which it is based in Columbus, Ohio. So out of manufacturing, the main parts and components from Accuray gets into our Lockport site. And then we have a network of field stock location across the world. That number, it's expanding as Eugene is just considering to reduce the SLA with the customers, right, and get faster to the customers. But right now, we have over 34 locations, I think it is active, Eugene, today.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
On the different regions. And everything, it is operated under our Select platform. So the way it works, it is if one of the systems for Accuray goes down or there's preventive maintenance needed. So there's an order that gets into our system and says, okay, the system located in X hospital, right, or X clinic requires this part of component, right? That is driven by one of the Accuray technicians. And based on that, we source that part from the closest location, and it is delivered into the technician location or into the site. Now, what it is important, it is one of the things that Eugene was mentioning is when we started conversation and we did the analysis, it is, okay, what do we do, right? Do we replicate what you have today or do we improve? So what we said is, okay, let's replicate what we have and let's set up the structure for a 10-hour SLA, which is what they had committed with the customers. So that's what we did, and that's what we implemented.
Okay. So I want to talk about the concept of SLA because I think it's important in the business. And Eugene, maybe if you could start and just describe what is, who are the parties involved and who's providing, well, first of all, what does SLA mean? Who's providing it? And what is, why is it important in your business?
Sure. So service level agreement, or is what the SLA stands for, and it is something. There's multiple stakeholders, right? So there's the ultimate stakeholder, which is the patient, and you can imagine that a patient is being treated for cancer, and they're told you're not going to feel well, but every day you need to come in here and get your treatment. And when they come in, they find out, well, the system's not working. Now their life is impacted, and their expectancy might be impacted. So we want to minimize those downtime impacts. And so, they're the ultimate stakeholder. The clinic or the hospital is the other stakeholder. They're our customer. And then our FSE, who is the person on site, and they're, trying to keep that system up and going. So our agreement, the 10 hours that Jose mentioned, was from the time that a part is ordered to the time that it arrives and is ready for the FSC to put it on the machine is, the network was built around 10 hours in some regions. We have other regions where it's tighter. And so, that's where we started. And now today, what we're doing is, utilizing both the data on the DHL side as well as our side, bringing that together and looking at how do we reduce that SLI time, say in North America, from a 10-hour to a 4-hour SLA for most sites. We can't do it for every site. There are some very remote places in North America, but for most sites, can we do that? And that's what we're working towards today.
And I think just to add one point there, Will, that it is interesting in the Accuray case, right, to what we see on the rest of the industries. It is today within the server logistics ecosystem, we have over 34 million parts, right, for all the customers across all our network. In particular with Accuray, due to the technology of the systems and the cost of the parts and the components, it is not that they can spread the inventory across the world and have like 20 different components in every market. So it is really critical on how do we position, or how does Accuray position the components and the parts on the field to make sure that SLA is as tight as possible.
So how do you do that? I mean, it sounds complicated.
Well, we do that planning on our side, and we try to make sure that we have the right stocking levels set up based on the criticality of parts, the cost of those parts, the time to deliver those parts. So, weights and dimensions play a part. So there's multiple factors. But as Jose said, there's a lot of cost to our parts. And so in many cases, the choice is not to have 10 on the shelf. It's, are we going to have one there, or are we going to have 0 there? And that's usually our choice. And then, we manage accordingly.
Okay. And the delivery itself, it wouldn't sound like this is an overnight parcel kind of shipment, correct?
It's a combination of both. We do a lot of same day, but then sometimes, the parts are, or the technician, the system's up and running, and so they can order next business day. And so we do that out of the hubs, whether it's the central distribution center in Ohio, or whether it's out of one of the hubs, say in Brussels, that is supporting, our European locations.
Okay, great. So I know that there was some system mentions that you made earlier, Eugene, about EDI and the like. Can you kind of take us through the path that you went down from getting systems put in place? Because I imagine you're trying to run this with sort of global visibility across the network. But again, right. Another complicated concept. How does that become real in what you're doing?
Yeah, so great question, Will. And so, yeah, we obviously do not want to do this manually, as in the old days. I'll date myself if I talk about that. But no, we're fully integrated with DHL, and we had the blessing or the curse to do that twice, because at the outset we had one ERP system, and so we integrated between ourselves. And an order today will flow through our systems, where the order management system that the FSEs can go into, and then goes through our ERP system and then to DHL for the final execution. A year and a half ago, we went through that process again. So we changed our ERP system, and so we upgraded to a new platform, and DHL came along with us in that ride and helped us and I would say we made improvements along the way. We didn't just copy and paste what we had, but we said, okay, what can we do better during that process? And so we improved some of that connectivity as well, some of the messages that we had going back and forth. And so utilizing that data was really helped us, to continue to move forward together.
So was that a smooth or a bumpy ride?
I would say the first one was bumpy. The second one was much smoother, and the support that we had from DHL was really critical to our success. And I would say, on our side of the business, I'm glad to say that we were the shining star within Accuray as far as continuing to ship the business and meet the needs of our customers on day one when we went live. And so not all facets of the business could say that. So,
okay. So given the stakes here and the criticality of the service, I know we would like for it all to function smoothly and systemically, but Jose, are there safety nets that you've put in place in case something does go wrong?
Well, I would love to say that yes, right? But it's what we did is we had a team in place. In the particular case of Accuray, we have a pretty good structure on our client support services organization, that they were the ones leading the entire journey of the migration together with IT. So what we did is we analyzed where were the critical inventory parts and the inventory levels that we need to hold. We identified together with Accuray what was kind of the best possible moment, right, to do the transition, and we did it, right. Fortunately enough, there were not major hiccups. It was a long journey that it took more on the planning side and making sure that our teams on the business process optimization group, they were all aboard on making sure that everything that we were mapping from one system to the other to Select, right, which is our platform, was working well. There was a lot of time spent on the UATs that we did, and it worked well. I think it went well.
And Will, and I would add to that we do have good business continuity plans in place as well. I like to say logistics happens, right? Or things happen, systems go down, and we do have processes in place between both organizations so that when those things happen, we're still able to ship the business and maintain operations, regardless of whether a connectivity issue or a systems issue.
Okay, good. That's helpful. So are there aspects of this being a global network that make things more challenging or cause you to have to set things up differently than if they were just domestic in the U.S.?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, you're always crossing borders, dealing with customs, that type of thing. It takes time. And so we try to, build a network in such a way that we have the ability for that extra time when needed and not have to ship critical parts from, say, the US to a site in Europe or somewhere else around the world. Not always the case, but that's what we strive to build the network, more like a hub and spoke. And so that, the replenishment time can take longer, but the actual, order for a customer delivery is taken care of within, the region proper, at least.
Okay, great. And Eugene, I'm curious, how long, I mean, I know how long you've been at Accuray, but have you been in the service logistics business for going back before then?
So I've been in with Accuray for 6.5 years, and specifically in service logistics for that time period. So, but I've been in the industry much longer than that. And previously to Accuray, I was with Electrolux and responsible for global logistics for them. And a portion of that was our service support industry as well.
So I wanted to ask what you've observed has changed in the industry in the time that you've been in it. And Jose, I'm going to ask you the same thing so you can start thinking.
What has changed? A lot has changed. I think the expectations have changed. And I think, consumerism with the likes of Amazon, and I can order it today, and sometimes it's here today or on my doorstep tomorrow morning, bright and early. Expectations are very high that we can do the same in this industry, and that's not always the case, especially in the medical device, or like we talked about, the expense of a part, the size and the complexity of a part. And so that's our challenge, is to how do we meet that need for our patients that have that expectation, or our customers that have that expectation. So to me, I think that's the biggest change, but I think also the visibility piece. Today we have visibility that we didn't have. I can, ship something today. I can look at my app and I can see when it's going to be an hour out from the site. And we can also get communication to our FSCs that we didn't have even 6.5 years ago when I started. So those are probably the two things that I would say have changed, in my opinion.
Okay, great. Yeah, so given the stakes, it's different from getting just an Amazon order, right? But some of the expectations have been raised by a lot of that consumer-facing technology.
That's right.
Jose, anything you'd like to add?
No, I think that Eugene just steal my thunder. I was going to talk about two things, right? Visibility, and Eugene and I had the opportunity to present together at the Service Council Symposium, and that was kind of the main element, right? It was always talking about visibility, about this generational change on the technicians on the field, that they're used to have all the information now at their tip of their fingers. They can access, and there was this expression that some of our customers says, right, that, hey, I am able today to track my pizza, right? I'm able to see if the pizza it's being prepared, if it has pepperoni, if it's in the oven, and when it's on the way to me. Why cannot have the same thing with my parts? And yeah, they're right, but it's a different industry, right? It's a different complexity, and there's too many hands in between touching the flow. One of the things, it's also the amount of information available, right? Because I think the key driver right now is not only about providing data, but it is how do you provide the data, right? How do you dissect that data and allow, in our case, how do we allow our customers to take better informed decisions on what to do with the future, right, that they have on their hands. I think that's the main change right now with all these digitalization processes.
Okay, good. And looking ahead, Eugene, what are the next challenges on your radar?
Next challenges, a couple of them, Jose alluded to it. We're, looking at changing our network and, trying to get closer to the customer and, reduce the amount of time. So that's one of the first challenges, to just make that happen. I think the next step, though, is utilizing AI, and how do we do that to make better decisions, and be a little more proactive and forward thinking, even outside of what we can do today. And so how do we use that with the data? As Jose said, the data is really key. And I know everyone that's listening to this, their data is perfect. I'll say ours is not, especially a lot of our legacy data is not. But one of the things we're driving towards is to improve that quality of data, so we can utilize it to make good decisions or better decisions, and utilize that AI technology as it becomes more and more available for us in the industry.
And credit to you for admitting that, because I think it's more widespread than you maybe are saying. Jose, anything that you guys are working on that either marry up to those goals or explore other areas looking ahead?
Yeah, so a couple of things that we're working at right now. It's we are embarking on this journey on the digital twin, on using all the data that we have on our systems to allow our customers to plan for the future, right? To see what will happen if we change one node, what will happen if we move the component from one side to the other. And that is helping on using the data on the right way, right? To make informed decisions. I think the main challenge is on the change management process, Will, right? Because data is data. We can provide analysis and dissect everything, but I think that one of the major accomplishments we have done with Accuray is that we're not only providing the data, but we are working together on how to make the changes on their infrastructure, within their teams, within the planning organization, to really make those changes efficient and get the result that we're expecting.
That's great. So it sounds like partnerships going quite well, a lot of collaboration.
Absolutely.
That's good to hear. Well, listen, I really appreciate both of you guys being here today and telling us a bit about the business. It's great to learn about Accuray and the good things that it's doing out in the market for humankind, and nice for DHL to play a part in bringing that about. So thanks to you both. I wish you the best for the rest of the year.
Thank you, Will. Thank you. The invitation.
Thank you very much.
If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to rate us and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. You can also re-listen to our entire library of episodes on our website, dhl.com/ABNB podcast. See you next time.